Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Gina Frabotta Pilates. Our hips carry so much of our daily stress and physical tension. Today is about letting all of that go. We're going to move through a slow, quiet sequence designed to open your hips and calm your mind. So listen to your body, breathe deeply, and let's begin. We're going to start on our hands and our knees. First thing we're going to do is a little internal external rotation. So keeping your knee right on the ground, you're going to lift your foot up and just turn it out and in, out and in. You can swing it above this other leg, or you can move that other leg out a little bit. And I like to just tap my foot on the ground at each opposite end. So I know I'm going to almost a full range of motion, never forcing it. Right? Just getting a nice little internal external rotation. Just the act of doing the internal external rotation loosens up the range of motion in your hip joint. And let's do the other side. In and out, never forcing, never pushing. And you'll notice as you go, that's when you're continuing through the movement, that's when your range of motion does increase. Don't have to push through it though. Last one. And back to center. Now we're going to take one leg, externally rotate it, point your toes out to the side. We're going to move forward and backward here. Start small, right? That's really a good rule of thumb, is to always start small and gradually work your movement up bigger. And forward and backward through this hip stretch. This is one of my favorite hip openers. And starting to get bigger motion now. One more time. Nice. Back to center. This leg that's out to the side, you're going to sweep it all the way around with your big toe drawing on the ground to the other side. Tuck your toes under, and you're going to sink into your opposite hip. So right now I'm sinking into my right hip for a deep stretch through the right glute. I'm leaning back into my left heel, but sinking towards the right hip. Nice deep breath in and out. Now this next one, if you've had a hip replacement, you would skip this and do a regular child's pose, right? This one's a little awkward to get into. I'm going to tuck the left leg back down, sinking back a little. Now you could just stop right here, or if this feels okay to you, you can sink more backwards towards like a child's pose. If this is painful in any way, please come out of it. It should feel like a stretch. And then we'll slowly rise up to the other side. All right, I'm going to turn around for side two. Externally rotate, toes point out to the side, and then we'll start to move forward and backward. Nice and easy. And if your wrists are sore, taking pressure here, you can always put a couple yoga blocks here and put your forearms down. That's always a nice alternative to wrist down. Some days some days your wrists are good, some days maybe they need a little extra support, and so that maybe that is a day that you rest on your forearms. Okay. And pause your movement. So right toes slide on the ground all the way around to the other side as far as the go. Then you tuck your toes under, and I'm going to slide back a little into that left hip. And you see my foot is moving with me a little bit until I get to a nice stretch, and I'm going to hold. Again, if you've had any hip replacement, you probably would want to skip this next one, the next child pose one. And be careful here too. You might even want to skip this one. In fact, just go right into that child's pose. This is a really nice deep glute stretch. There we go. And then you're going to take knee, tuck it back in behind the other leg, sink back either part way or all the way if you can. And breathe deep. And then rise. And now we will take this onto our back. And actually, before I lay down, depending if you have carpet or linoleum, if you have something that you could slide on, go ahead and roll up your mat. We're going to use the surface of the floor here. You could also put a little towel. That's actually the nicest way to put a little towel here, and it slides nice and easy, right? If you're not on carpet. This is called a leg slide. We want to stay in a nice neutral pelvis, so you're not going to be moving your pelvis. You do that by tightening up your muscles here, drawing them in towards your spine. Then you're going to slide one leg out, externally rotate at the bottom and slide it in, bring it back to center. All the while without your other leg moving or your pelvis shifting to the side. The leg that's moving is meant to be heavy, so it's not light, right? It's very heavy. We're supposed to be working really just the core, back to center, opposite direction, go out to the side. So if I didn't have my core on, that's what would happen, right? So core on, especially the opposite oblique, but that leg is heavy, so it can be kind of loosey-goosey. Normally we don't ever do that in our movements or exercise, but here you can. And back to center. Side two, extend your legs, externally rotate at the bottom, slide the heel in, back to center, repeat. And let that leg be heavy. This is one of the few times it can just be flop. You just holding your pelvis stable. And then go the opposite direction, out to the side, slide away and in. That's it. Out and in. One more. And back in. Okay. Into some knee circles. So here, you're going to place your hands on the outside of the knees and let your arms take the weight of the legs. So get a little movement forward and backward. And the arm's going to hold the weight of the legs here. So if I let go with my arm, the leg's going to flop. So arms take the legs. This is really good for lubricating your hips. Nice hip circles here. One more this way. And then we'll change direction. Try not to let your legs take over. Right? Use your arms to take the weight. All the way back to center. Then what we're going to do is we're going to grab our ankles. So don't want to force it. We're going to grab here. So let's do it a different way. Let's take the right leg over. Use your left hand to grab the right foot. If you can't reach it without discomfort or pain, you can just go for your knee. And then we'll grab the other one. And then you're going to twist slightly to the side. You're just going to hold. Again, your hand can be here. Your other hand doesn't have to be on the foot if it doesn't reach comfortably. This was a tough one. That one's just going to breathe it out. Let your breath help you here. Softening where we need to at the facial muscles and neck and shoulders, and softening in your hips as well. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to release, and we're going to try it the other way. You can stay here or to the side if you can, and breathe. At first it feels like impossible, right? Your hands Go where you need to modify so that you're never forcing anything. Nice deep breath in and out. Once more. Woo. Okay, and then you can release. Next, you're gonna go ahead and lay onto your side. I like to rest my head on my bottom arm, bent or straight. And we're gonna go ahead and grab this ankle here, and we're gonna go for a stretch right here. So to protect our knee, you want to take your foot and your leg and press away from you. So pushing. And then, of course, your arm resists and pulls. You can see how that changed it. So now I'm being very active in my leg, and that both protects the knee and increases the stretch through the front of your hip and thigh. If, though, you do feel stress in the knee, then you probably don't want to grab. You can just bring your foot back and hold it back there. And as you can see, you should probably also feel in your own body how it starts to open up and loosen. Keep pressing. Bonus, you get a little stretch through this pec muscle right here. And then we're going to go ahead and release and let that go. And then we'll do the other side. Okay, always support your head and reach for your top ankle. Here we go. Press, activating your thigh. Help protect your knee. And breathe. And allow yourself to be nice and heavy into the mat. That's it. Nice long breaths here. One more time. Okay, gently release. Use your hands to push yourself up and back to all fours here. Okay, now we're going to do a classic lunge, low lunge, where one leg is forward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you guys go ahead and put your hands here on your thighs. You can hold here. If you prefer, you can go down here. There's lots of ways you can do this. If you have a yoga block, you can put your hand on the yoga block and be up higher. Really, it's whatever feels best for you. Whatever lunge position you're in, you want to be actively drawing your leg muscles in towards your pelvis so that you're not sinking into the floor like I just did. That's where you can easily strain the front of your hips. So I'm getting a nice stretch, but my legs are pulling and hugging in towards my pelvis. So actively using your legs so we don't overstretch. Then we're going to place both hands on the inside of that front leg. Tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee to a nice low lizard pose right here. Same idea. So my back leg's not sinking like it is right now. I'm going to activate it and lift. Then you're going to get a good stretch without straining your hip. You got to be active in your muscles. Just a bit longer. You can let your heart look forward, chest forward. And then gently set your knees down into a little hamstring stretch right here where you straighten your front leg without forcing it. So I'm going to try and stay mostly in a flat back. I know I'm slightly rounded here, but mostly I'm talking about my pelvis being able to rotate on top of the thigh bone. So if you're very rounded right here, then you probably would want to bend your knee more, or definitely then prop yourself up on yoga blocks with your hands. Trying to get this stretch without too much rounding of the low back, because then you're not stretching your hamstring very much and you're overstretching your low back. And we're going to switch. Low lunge here. whatever works best for you, wherever your hands want to go. So hug your muscles in, drawing towards your hips. And we'll hold and breathe. And then we're going to go ahead, place both hands down on the inside of the front leg. Tuck your toes and then press up for a nice lizard pose. Active back leg especially. So my hamstring is lifting up towards the ceiling. And we're breathing. We can place the knee down. The last stretch, everybody, into a nice hamstring stretch right here. So again, trying to get your pelvis to rotate on top of your femur bone, your thigh bone, to keep it out of your back and into your hamstring. A final deep breath in and out. And then we'll gently come out of this stretch down to a seated position. All right, you guys are all good to go. Thank you so much for being here. If you did find this helpful, please like and subscribe, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Take care.